can you help us promote it? And I said, sure. As soon as you launch, we can get you scheduled on one of these community spaces. So I believe there was a delay in launching in December. And finally, when it launched, Dan reached out to me and we set a date. And so we put it in the Discord that we had DFS-MAFIA coming in. And a lot of our members started doing some research, and we've had different projects come in and speak to us, but not one project has caught the attention of the Noble Knights like DFS-MAFIA, and I think it's for a lot of reasons. So we just started to see this organic movement in promotion of a lot of our holders joining also the Mafia over there and on over there. So this space tonight is by no means an endorsement from the Token team on this project. It's just a space and I always do your own research. But again, we're really excited about tonight. So what do we do? Dan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good, and thank you, Rick. I appreciate that. And it's funny, you and I kind of probably started, I think we've gotten to know each other just from similar investing. We noticed that we're tweeting out the same things before we launched the project, and that's how you and I became to know each other just from similar interests. And I think that's really how we got into the whole idea of Nobility. It was, like you said, organic, how Nobility Nights, they started really taking interest in our project. I've been fortunate enough to be an early Nobility holder myself and heavy investor just because I love the project myself, and I was blown away. I've been part of Nobility Nights, be blown away by just the support and the welcoming from Nobility was just amazing. So Kyle, I just want to say thank you for joining. That was dumbfounded when I saw that you created a Twitter deck. I just looked at it yesterday and saw that you were jumping into that. I thought that was awesome. So I just want to give you guys a little bit of background myself, a briefing on the company, going a little bit about our token, what we got going on, and talk about our partnerships. I know we've been doing a lot. We only launched 2.5 weeks ago, or coming up on 3 weeks. I do want to talk about as far as the delayed launch. Everything we do here is very strategic. I was going to launch on December 1st. Of course, that's when the market really took a turn. And I was like, last thing we want to do is to launch a token that we have such high hopes for, just as the market starts to have a major correction. So it was a smart move. We delayed it 2 weeks, launched 2 weeks later, and the rest is history from there. But anyway, so I'm Dan Westphal, CEO and founder of DFS-MAFIA. I'm a huge crypto enthusiast, entrepreneur. I've run and managed multiple businesses, startups, I've owned driving ranges, and founder of 3. I think that's my favorite part. But I've just been super enthused about crypto. I realized the power behind blockchain and where this whole space is going, how early we still are in the crypto space. And another big part was always fantasy sports. I've been doing that for about 10 years. I made 6 figures playing fantasy sports, taking first and second place in tournaments with 40 to 150,000 people. So, and after that, really with my passion for crypto, wanted to launch my own project. I didn't want to just be the next meme token that hopefully caught fire like Doge or like Shiba. I wanted to have a real use case behind it. So last year I've been planning out what I wanted to do. The idea came to me just like a light bulb moment, and I was like, let's merge 2 major sectors. Let's merge crypto and fantasy sports, put them into one. Start doing my research that we had really done what we plan to do and what we're starting to do. And I mean, there's gaming, apps and platforms, but nothing of the magnitude that we're trying to do. So, DFS-MAFIA, obviously we know it's a deflationary token. Our focus is on merging these 2 major sectors where we are innovative. We're not just trying to put a token into fantasy sports. We're really trying to make something different and unique. That's what we're working on. So I want to talk about the platform a little bit and about fantasy sports. We have some questions. People don't really fully grasp what daily fantasy sports are. They get the idea of fantasy leagues and year-long leagues. So daily fantasy sports, we're talking just you're picking a lineup of players, and using their stats from that night, and it's based on a point system. Football touchdowns usually 6 points, or for quarterback 4 points. For FanDuel, for example. Is it just me or he kind of?
Yeah, I think he's watching me. I think he just got kicked off his speaker.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what's going on with my phone. Just disconnecting from Twitter. What was the last thing you guys heard about this?
You're saying it's like FanDuel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so basically what fantasy sports is just, your daily fantasy sports is you picking players for one night and using their stats as a team, and obviously whoever has the highest point total takes the top prize, and so on and so forth. Our fantasy platform is going to integrate cryptocurrency and using our DFSM token as the native token of the entire ecosystem. And the platform itself is really going to be focusing on the buyback and burn tokens. So over time, we build the price of the token as well and we'll supply. Some of the major features that we're looking to integrate into the platform will be a sports-themed NFT marketplace. We'll bring a bunch of different artists and sell their stuff on our NFT marketplace right in the platform. We're actually going to launch that prior to the platform so that we can get that out, let people start buying the NFTs from our platform, but we're actually launching NFTs later this month as well. There's going to be a swap feature where you can swap the actual token for other currencies to cash out. There's going to be staking, which I think is a big part of those kind of my innovative ideas that when you're playing fantasy sports and you have money sitting in your account, when you're in between contests, money's just sitting there. And sometimes if you're busy like I am, I might go a week or 2 weeks in between playing tournaments, money's just sitting there not doing anything for you. Well, I thought, let's integrate staking into a DFS platform where you can earn a little bit of interest on your coins while you're not doing anything with them. So that's something else. And just the overall profits of each contest, each tournament, a portion of the profits will be used towards the buyback and burn tokens as well. That's going to be probably the biggest contributor because you got $1 million in entries and $100,000 prize pool, you got $100,000 in profits from a single contest, and you can use a good portion of that to do a buyback and burn. So that's going to be huge as well. So that gives you just kind of an overall briefing of what our vision is, what platforms going to entail. We are working on trying to do some things earlier as far as maybe a lesser feature of fantasy sports and integrating our token into it so that people have a tangible product to play with and enjoy prior to the full-on platform launch. So we're working on that as well. I do want to get into partnerships. So that's on here as well. Seb has been amazing, and I want to get into some of the huge. He brings so much to the table. I can't even get into how much he's going to be doing for us, how much he's already done behind the scenes as well. But so he's actually the owner of ImpactFilms.com. He's a former agent for 11 years. And he's got immense.
And he's trying to connect, and he's back up.
I'll re-add him here.
But Sev, so he has a lot of personal contacts with actors, athletes. Just he rambled off a bunch of names to me that I couldn't even imagine that he had personal contacts with, and he's been working on getting some pro athletes and some partnerships in here already for us that are going to be massive. I did want to drop a little bombshell in here as well that I got permission to talk about tonight. So Sev is actually going to be the lead role in a major documentary coming up that's going to have worldwide distribution. Um, it's going to be something you can watch in your airplanes when you're traveling, your Rokus, your Fire Sticks. And we are actually working on a deal later this week to drop a little DFS-MAFIA tidbit into the actual documentary that's going to be released. So can't say too much about it yet for obvious reasons, but that deal is being worked on right now, and he is the lead role of the entire documentary. So what he brings to the table and the exposure he's going to bring and the clients and partnerships he's going to bring in are instrumental to the direction we're heading here as well.
Well, Dan, thanks for the intro. I think after this call, you can be my manager.
I hope I didn't talk you up too much and embarrass you a little bit there, but no, Sev brings so much experience in the business world as well. Like, my expertise, I've done, I'm a businessman and entrepreneur, but I know when someone's got more experience, and what he brings to the table and what he can do for us is just insane. My expertise are crypto, and I think the partnership I couldn't even get out into words how big this partnership was for us and what it's going to bring. And then, not to mention just our ideas of building onto Nobility blockchain. I would be absolutely honored if we can get to be the first token built on Nobility's blockchain. So I know that's a conversation that me and Nobility are going to have and figure out how we can onboard. But that is 100% our plan is to be part of Nobility and build that noble mafia partnership there. So. Some of the other ones I just want to bring up, we brought in Jeff Lambert. He's the owner of goingfor2.com. He's a podcast. He has his own podcast. He's a writer for the last 7 years for Fantasy Pros, which has like 300,000 Twitter followers as well. So that was more to get us into the DFS side of things and get more notice on that side. A lot of people who play fantasy sports also like to get into crypto, so he was our avenue there. We teamed up with Bobbler's NFTs. He's actually going to be launching NFTs for us and getting us started on that aspect. And I'm actually in the final steps of hiring our NFT manager that's going to be managing all our NFTs, the whole process and everything as well. So we've got an expanding team, and as soon as that deal's done, we'll announce that partnership or that teammate being brought on as well and have him fully doxed too. But yeah, so that gives you kind of a gist of what we've been working on. For less than 3 weeks, the partnerships that we have, we've got a couple CFL pros, and we're looking to bring in some NFL talent now too. So hopefully we can share.
Awesome, Dan. Myself and Lunar have a few questions for you before we open it up to everyone in the audience. I of course, am big on Nobility Token. It's a esports betting esports token. I'm not much of a gamer myself, but I had a hint or idea that esports is humongous, more so than I could have imagined. I remember hearing, I think it was David Chen, give a statistic that one of the esports finals had like 10 times more viewers than the Super Bowl. And that helped me put into perspective how huge esports is. When I heard about your project, fantasy sports, I'm in 3 different fantasy football leagues this year. And I'm about to either win or come in second in one of them. So I know for a fact that fantasy sports is a huge thing. For those people that are listening that don't understand how big fantasy football and fantasy sports are, can you put that in perspective for the person that does not understand how big of a thing this is in the United States and around the world?
I think we lost Dan again.
Well, I can easily add and say that esports right now is making more money than all of the production houses put together. That's how big it is.
How big fantasy sports is. FanDuel alone gets over 1 million new users every year, and they generated $660 million in revenue just from their fantasy sports platform, just from the tournaments that they run. So, to give you guys an idea, I mean, like you're saying, esports and gaming is such a massive thing. I mean, you got kids making millions of dollars joining, esports teams now. Fantasy sports is just as big. Where I mean, you got the Sunday $1 million contest for NFL every single weekend, and I'm always in that. You got NBA playing where every single night you've got $300,000 to $500,000 contest for a single contest, and they're maxed out. You actually have to get in early enough so that you have a slot in their contest, and they have usually it's 30,000 400,000 entries, and every single night, every slot is filled. So the revenue that the space produces, as well as just the eyes and people contributing to the space, is just massive. And that's why I thought.
I think we lost Dan again.
Well, I can piggyback
lost
off
them again.
If you don't mind, I can piggyback off of where what Dan was talking about. Just I'm really excited about the potential of this partnership with the DFS-MAFIA. I mean, Dan and the team, you guys have created such a strong foundation, a great skeleton to this business, and we're ready to put the guts in it in such a short period of time. So the potential is what excites me as well.
I could add to that as well too. So this is Chris Muniz. When I first heard about the project, I actually was an investor before anything, and the way it came to me was an entrepreneur in this area where I live that owns multiple properties, and he had reached out to my brother, who's on the call, Matt, and they were like, "Look at this opportunity. What do you guys think?" And I just immediately saw the potential. First I invested, then I dove in and said I'd love to help, and then I showed Dan kind of what I'm capable of. Little background on me: I'm a director of sales for Clear Channel Airports for the past 7 years, and I managed one of the largest territories in the entire country, which include New York, New Jersey, and all of South Florida. And I also owned I owned a limo company and all types of other businesses. So with the entrepreneur in me immediately kicked in and said, I want to help. I could help. I could, start steering the ship, start, helping you out with certain things. My son dove in as well and helped redo the website and just all the things that, in 2.5 weeks that we've started to accomplish. And then Dan and I had some strong conversations with, partnerships. Let's not go after influencers that are just going to have pump and dumpers come in. That's not the goal. The goal is long-term investors that see exactly what we all see. And, it's a business, and let's treat it like that right from the beginning. So that's where we said, okay, let's start working on foundational partnerships that share the same space, that can bring all of this together. And then that's when we decide to start pushing the partnerships in itself is gonna speak volume. And then go from there. And Savage is just a blessing, in terms of when we first started talking about the partnership avenue, it just started to align right off the bat. So it's awesome to see. And again, the Nobility community is awesome. Seeing it, being shared and all, and April, congrats on your wins and everything that's been coming out of everything. I could see that you're definitely a loyal person that, it's great. And everyone posts Unify DeFi. Like, there's so much together that could be accomplished. And that's exactly how I just decided into everything that we've been doing. So I'm somewhat behind the scenes, but at the same time, me and Dan are constantly on the phone together. I think my wife shoots me the look all the time, like I married someone else. So Dan, I might have to put a ring on it. I don't know.
Yeah, your wife says the same thing as mine. I get in trouble all the time. She's like, "Is that Chris again? Is that Chris again?" I'm sorry, unfortunately.
Guys, this might be a question either for Dan or for Chris now, I suppose. But can you please tell us a bit more about the size of your team, the size of the dev group who are doing the work, and share a bit about your roadmap going forward. How are you taking this from idea and token through to utility?
Absolutely. So we have four major people on the front lines, as you see on our, we're fully doxed on there. I had been working with a couple other people initially that, I realized you can't focus too much on the friendships and people that you like to have, and more of, hey, look, this is a business we're running and we need to have the right people in place to do the right things. So we dox the people that are 100% the team and that are really working on things all the time. Chris's son, he's a genius with the website, and anything we have a new partnership, he's jumping on it, adding it to the website. So he's been instrumental in that as well. As far as us in our roadmap, I fully looked into everything that's involved in launching a DFS platform, and just to launch something with the legalities and getting the attorneys and the legal team involved, as well as just the actual development, the front end and back end of the website. You're looking at
Not sure if
Dan,
we
we lost you again there, mate. Okay, just re-adding you as speaker.
Seems like he's being timed out all the time.
my Wi-Fi or anything like that, but I apologize. But yeah, I mean, so we know one of the big things we're going to look for is getting investors. We have a couple people already lined up for that. Just the overall tokens, like we're going to use our growth to build the platform, and we know that there's a lot of money that's involved to launch the full scale DFS platform, which is why we're going to launch the NFT marketplace first. Create revenue from that. Simple ads and banners and stuff on our website will create more revenue. We are all about making sure that we have the funds in place to do this right the first time around. We want to set on a product that, for lack of a better term, half-assing it. We're going to come out with something that competes with the likes of FanDuel and DraftKings and Yahoo Sports. So we have a plan in place, and that's why also I know some people that are heavily into DFS-MAFIA know that we're going to open up a portion of the revenue profits for DFS-MAFIA holders to invest into, which would also help speed up the platform creation. So a lot of different things that we got businessmen behind it, and we know what we got to do this right the first time around.
That's awesome, mate. I'll just ask the community here to put up your hands if you have any questions for Dan, Chris, or even Savage here. So you can request a microphone because we'll move to them next. But Rick, back to you, mate.
Yeah, this question is either for Dan, for the team, or even Hank. I listened in on the AMA you guys had last week on Telegram, and you spoke in depth about the difference between working with Binance versus working with Nobility and the blockchain, and specifically our developers like Hank and Adrian. Can either of you guys talk about the advantages there are for a project like Mafia to work with Nobility as opposed to Binance?
Yeah, well, ultimately, our goal is to be the primary blockchain of choice for esports, gaming, the things in that industry, as well as expanding into, not just esports, but, if you guys are doing fantasy football and fantasy sports, that's still gaming, that's still sports. It would all, centralize together. The difference between Binance and Nobility is if you have a problem on Binance, you are not going to be able to hit up CZ. If you have a problem on Nobility blockchain, I will make every effort I can to answer you and fix any issue that we come across. Because, after using BSC for 9 months now, I understand the issues that it has. I understand what irritates the hell out of me. So being a developer and working on the chain, and also having some aspect to the business side as well, it gives a lot of room for growth and creativity and things that we can do to innovate with the space. We also, we want to work with people who are like-minded, who want to do innovation, etc. So, the more people that will help and build their projects up on our chain, give suggestions, the better off overall it's going to be for everybody. So, that's the ultimate goal. And then we'll work with anybody who has, D apps already made and working on integrating our chain into their platforms. If something's missing on docs, we'll add documentation on how to do it, etc. Just it's easier to get a hold of me and our team, and I will make sure that I have somebody who will always answer people versus somebody that is more of a centralized business rather than a business that is built from the community up and has always been about the community.
Then why do you only respond to like half my texts?
Right. I don't tell you to text me 150 times a day.
I'm trying to get stuff done over here, buddy.
I might have to mute your mic for that kind of conduct, Kyle.
No, I had a quick question though. I know because we're getting into the esports betting platform and stuff like that. Do you guys have any? I guess what are you guys doing in regards to like the licensing and that kind of stuff?
I've looked into it. I've already started looking at legal teams because the licensing.
I think we lost him again.
Yep.
Put your hand up again there, Dan. I'll get you reloaded here, mate.
So we're talking to DFS-MAFIA.
Going on. But yeah, we know that we got to get a legal team behind it because there's going to be certain licensing. Anytime you're mixing any type of monetary value with, it's not gambling, but it is gambling. So I'm not a attorney, but we're going to have some licensing behind it as well. That's part of the legal fees I've looked into that add up to at least $1 million to launch a full-on DFS platform.
Dan, several Nobility holders have asked me and have asked, I believe in the Telegram, about moving your contract to pay in BUSD reflections. What are your thoughts on that?
I love it. And honestly, that's probably going to be something, once I talk to Nobility as far as the plans to, for the Nobility blockchain, once it launches, I'll have a better idea. But I'm thinking about doing a V2 to switch over to a BUSD reflections rather than a native token. I like it. That's actually one of the big things that drew me into Nobility was, seeing that chart and seeing the potential reflections in BUSD depending on volume. So that's something that realistically is probably going to happen.
Amazing.
If you are planning to do that and you need help with the migration part, overall, our migration went pretty smoothly. I learned what went well and what didn't. Just a general tip: don't pull user balances from BSC scan if you reflect your native token because it won't be up to date. But otherwise, we had around 4,000 holders whenever Nobility Dev messaged me and asked me for advice and just walk with him through the process because neither of us had migrated a token before. But when we spent 6 hours on Discord figuring it out, ultimately we got all the holders moved over with their user balances besides what wasn't up to date on BSC scan. It cost 17 BNB to automate the entire process. So as long as you guys have, a relative means of affording to move over everybody by themselves, you won't have to have it manually done. You won't lose any holders, etc. So however you want to handle that, or just want any advice in general, more than happy to answer.
Awesome. I appreciate that.
So if you guys have questions for the team, we can start the question segment now. we're talking to DFS Mafia that's doing the daily fantasy sports platform. Wanted to give a quick shout out to Brian Young. He's been one of the fighters out there. I think one of the good guys that have been working to unify DeFi, and also a big football fan. So what's up, Brian? But we have K11 who's been waiting to ask a question to the team. What's up, K11?
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Good, good.
All right. Hey, bought into DFS Mafia a little while back. Been holding Nobility for a long time. Excited about both the projects. Kyle actually stole my first question, and Rick actually hit on my second question, so I'm only left with my third one, which is fine. I like your answers so far. I was really interested in finding out about licensing and stuff, so I'm glad that Kyle asked that question. My question is more about protecting investments of your investors. So I'm wondering, kind of, what do you have in place for anti-bot mechanisms? Do you have anything in place like that to protect our investments on your contract?
I don't have anything currently as far as in that regards. I was looking at a couple projects that actually have not only an anti-bot and that aspect, but kind of a freeze mechanism on stolen funds and a reversal. I won't get into too much on that, but that was a partnership. I think I actually dropped that in initially when we first launched. That was something I'm looking at trying to do, is get somebody, get something involved where we can actually help protect from, because unfortunately in this day and age in crypto world, we have these problems, and that's something that's important to us, is to make sure that our investors are safe and secure. So, I mean, I'll be talking to some people, with Nobility if they've got any, ideas as well, but I've got one partnership I'm trying to work on that if we can integrate it into our contract so that it's a pretty unique setup that they've got where they can actually freeze a stolen transaction and reverse it. So,
Okay.
once we have that, I'll be able to release the link from there.
Well, I really like that. I like that you're, forward thinking like that, because I've been in a few projects where the bots just kind of killed them off. You know what I mean? And it really hurts because you're so excited about something, and then bam, 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 you're down, and it just, I don't know, it's like a shot in the gut.
No, I know.
So you're one of those guys. Lucky you. You're one of those guys that actually does well when he plays fantasy sports and makes some money. I'm on the opposite end of that spectrum. I play with my heart instead of my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, trust me, I understand that completely, because sometimes I try to stay away from my favorite teams too, because I feel like you can let your heart get too much into it. So,
absolutely.
Trust me, I've had good seasons, as I call it, and bad seasons. This year's been kind of average, but last year I had a killer year, and the year before was mediocre. So, it's just like anybody. Go ahead. Sorry.
What's your team? My team is the Lions,
All right,
so there's not really usually any guys that you're picking on my team to win anything.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest with you. So, I mean, I'm from Buffalo. That's actually, I'll be honest with you, that's kind of the Mafia idea came from, was Bill's Mafia, because I wanted something that we could build, because people get behind. You got the Noble Knights and everything, you got Safe Moon Army, whatever the case may be. You have to have some kind of trending name for everybody. Well, I thought, what's better than DFS, obviously Daily Fantasy Sports, Mafia? And I was like, Bill's Mafia, and I could start getting,
Nice, man. Well, I think that was a smooth move. I know that you probably just got booted off here again, but I think that the Bills are they're my second favorite team in football. Normally I stick to the NFC, but in the AFC, they're my favorite team, and the Bills Mafia is actually pretty cool. So I'm glad you named it after that.
Yeah.
I thank you for having me on here tonight and allowing me to ask you a couple questions. I really appreciate it. I hope you do really well.
Absolutely, you too.
That's awesome. Like to now invite up the Incredible Hawk for a question. How you doing today, mate?
Yeah, I just wanted to cut in here real quick because Hank and I have to go, and we have a meeting right now for our app. We have to finalize that. So it's a pleasure meeting you, Dan, Chris, and the rest of the DFS Mafia team. I can't wait to see what you guys do with this. It's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Likewise. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here, gents. Really appreciate that.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks, Lunar.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Hank.
See you guys.
Good to speak to everybody. Thanks for having us. I'll be on the Rick. Is it tomorrow? right?
Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern with Zephyr.
There you go. Yeah, I'll be on that one. All right.
Thanks, Hank. And on behalf of Azza, thanks again, mate. You go have a fantastic day, buddy.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.
Are we in the
How you doing,
clear?
mate? Yeah, we are, mate. Fire it up.
I resisted the incredible voice just overtaking the space, so I resisted my excitement to let everybody exit out quietly. But no, thanks, Lunar. Thanks, Rick, for hosting the space. Dan, pleasure having you and Chris and Savaga here in the spaces as well. I'm super pumped about your project. I looked into it, with a couple other Nobility holders, and saw what you're doing. That's one of the things I'm excited about Nobility as well is the betting platform. I'm very passionate about that. I know what kind of money flows through that and how many people that actually touches and the reach for that. So I'm very excited for your project. I hope you guys do very well. Not only because I'm a holder of yours, but I really want to see everyone succeed. I want to see you succeed. I want to see Nobility succeed, because if you have a partnership, essentially it goes through all of the holders and everybody is blessed with BUSD, and it's a Merry Christmas at the end of the day. So I'm very excited about that. One of the questions that I do have for you, Dan, is, and I kind of hinted at this in your Telegram a little bit earlier on. I know you mentioned that you're going to have the A7FL acquisition for a division. So 4 teams is what you mentioned that you're going to acquire. So can you kind of elaborate on how that will benefit your your token and your holders, other than just the exposure, of having, your brand on that division? What will that bring to DFS-MAFIA and the success of your token?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate your support. You've been super active in our Telegram as well. Just heads up, because it keeps seeming to happen. If I get kicked out, I apologize. I'll come back in and answer the question here. But it's something. We have a Zoom call with the CEO of the A7FL on Wednesday at 2 p.m. I actually been personally talking to the other co-founder of the CFL, or the A7FL, privately, and kind of going over what the specifics are to get involved in a division owner. He's actually the co-founder of the UFC as well, believe it or not. But it's something we'll have more information as far as if it's something we really feel can benefit, the DFS-MAFIA. Obviously, the branding and the fact we can put our logo on jerseys and promote it through their platforms. They got millions of viewers, and I think 100 million views per year or something like that. So there's a lot of exposure we can get from becoming part of that. If we don't, I mean, initially the conversation came up with the A7FL as far as a sponsorship and getting that kind of marketing, but now the idea of possibly owning a division which consists of 4 teams, if it makes sense, financially, as well as what it can bring to the table for us, we'll entertain it. But if it's something where we're spending money, we don't see a return on our investment, then we're not going to even entertain it. It's a nice thought, but our investors' money, not just put our name on everything. So that's all I can say right now about it.
Sure, absolutely, and I think that's good. And as far as and I don't know, you probably can't talk about the specifics about it, but I mean, can you elaborate to everybody who's on this space right now about what the A7FL even is? Because there's a lot of people that here they might not even know about sports, football, or this division of sports. So can you elaborate on that to give an explanation?
Yeah, absolutely. So the A7FL, I actually saw him a few years ago. I almost invested to be a shareholder and league owner, as they call it. But the A7FL is a no helmet tackle football league where they don't have any shoulder pads, they don't have any helmets, so it avoids head-on collisions and people bleeding with their head and neck and head injuries and concussions. And it's a 7-on-7 football, so that's where the A7FL comes from, and it's unique. I mean, they're hitting hard, they're coming up with these amazing grabs and stuff, but it is full on football and heavy hits and plowing people in the ground, but they're not having the dangerous head-on hits. And they've really gained a ton of exposure, where they went from 8 teams and 4 divisions to they have, I believe, 9 divisions and 32 teams, and they're looking to even expand more into the 2023 season. So they've got, I think, Fight TV, and another big brand is actually televising their games now. they just got a lot of media exposure. And you've had like the XFL, which was led by Vince McMahon back in the day and stuff, but they've been around for years now, and they just keep growing and growing. So it's something that we've looked at because their revenue is increasing. They're not a 1 or 2 year league and then they fade out because the revenue is out there. So
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds like for all of our European friends out here on the call, that sounds like a big game of rugby.
it
I
literally
could be specific.
That's
it is
exactly
very
it.
much. It is
I
very much like rugby.
I would like
I
to add
watched some
one.
of I watched some of the video and seen some of the tackles there, and those are not rugby tackles. And some of those boys are still playing like they're wearing headgear, so they're gonna have to watch out, mate.
And
Oh yeah.
I would like to add one more big part of that is the AS. They actually are targeting the younger generation, which are very avid crypto users and who everyone is trying to reach. So that's one of the things they noticed, that the NFL's losing a lot of the younger generation because younger generation, it's hard to keep their attention, so they're finding that they're actually reaching them, and that's where that was on the business side made a lot of sense to at least entertain that conversation. So excited to I was able to break through to them and set that meeting up for Dan and I to join on Wednesday, and see where it goes from there. But we're pretty excited about even their reach as well with the co-founder of UFC and so forth. So
it's funny you mentioned that, Chris, because I'm a huge diehard Cincinnati Bengals fan. AFC champs, by the way, if anybody didn't know. And King of the North over here. Sorry, K11. But just to elaborate on what Chris was talking about, I know that Jamar Chase, where he is actually getting part of his paycheck paid out in crypto, along with a new quarterback that just came out of the draft this year, Trevor Lawrence, who plays for the Jaguars. He's getting a large portion of his paycheck paid out in Bitcoin. So just to kind of elaborate, crypto is slowly creeping into the mainstream, and I see what you're talking about, Chris, as far as they're trying to captivate the younger audience and trying to make that mesh seamless with the new audience and catch their attention, because I see a lot of youth actually in the crypto world. So if they see some of their fantasy players or their superstars, athletes that are being paid in crypto and they're diving into these realms as well, that just creates more synergy, more mass adoption. You've got some of these celebrity athletes that are playing esports, and they're playing e-games. I mean, we had T-Pain in here the other day, but there's plenty of pro athletes that game on the daily, and if we get them into our Nobility gaming center, that'll be huge. I mean, gigantic exposure, which I think it'll be great for Nobility, and I could benefit DFS as well. So, I mean, I think if you do land that partnership with Nobility, it'll be a win-win for both organizations for sure.
totally agree.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's funny. So 2 things about Jamar Chase. First of all, I actually did reach out to him because I saw about his taking his paycheck in crypto. So we'll see if that comes to fruition at all. But he also won me quite a bit of money yesterday. I did have Jamar Chase in all my lineups, and he went bonkers. So thank you to him. But
well, good for you, because my dumbass benched him on my bench, and I am now dependent on Deontay Johnson tonight with Ben Roethlisberger. I need 16 points to win my Super Bowl league.
you might still get it. We'll see. Yeah, I definitely would have. I don't know. I just saw Jamar Chase is like that thing's going to be a shootout. If I started to get worried in the beginning because I was like, here we go. Chiefs are taking, blowing them out, and then I thought they were just going to kind of cruise to the finish line, but no, they did well.
Well, my big thing was I was worried about T. Higgins getting all the action since he was just dominating the week prior. So I got a little cold feet. I sat him just to play it safe, and I knew who Ben's go-to guy was with the Steelers, and I figured it was a big AFC North rivalry game, so I figured it'd be a shootout tonight. So that's what I went with. But yeah, we'll see what the night brings. So I got the game here on the background. So I will let the mic be passed to Arctic. It looks like he has a question as well, so I'll step down. Dan, Chris, thanks for answering my questions. I look forward to the future of DFS Mafia and the partnership with Nobility, and I gladly support both projects.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Hawk. Our next question comes from someone that me and Lunar call double winners. Those are people that have at least two projects that we think are long-term wins, and that's Arctic. What's up, Arctic?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, definitely a big supporter of Nobility, obviously, and with DFS Mafia, it's hopefully it's going to be a good partnership with the two tokens, but definitely going to be a long-term holder on both. My question, Dan, and I don't know if Chris and Savag can chime in, but I noticed Savag's icon. I believe that's an Emmy, and from what I've seen in the Telegram chat, is that there's connections to the acting world. So are you guys just looking at potential athletes as bringing on athletes as ambassadors or partners, or are we pulling a Matt Damon possibly like Crypto.com?
No, so actually, me and Savag were talking about this about an hour before the AMA. Because we're obviously behind the scenes, we're working on some partnerships, and he did ask me, are we strictly sticking to the sports world? Because I know his connections outside of the sports world, and the answer is no. We're not. I mean, obviously, it's going to be a huge benefit to bring in pro athletes and big time athletes because of the sector we're in, but we want
Tossing
think
in
we
there,
might-
Dan.
Yeah.
Pop back in when you're ready, mate.
Or Savag, I don't know if you can answer, or I know you guys can't reveal much, but until it's
Well,
time.
without revealing too much, I mean, the Rolodex is there. I was a sports agent for 11 years with Elite Athlete Management, where I got bought out, which was a good thing. But we represented athletes of all different disciplines of sport, you name it, like hockey, basketball, tennis, football. And during the Sydney Olympics, we represented 90 Olympians. But going off of what Dan said, the Rolodex and the contacts are there. We want to dabble in every sector, but it has to be a good marriage, a good fit for the for the company, and it would be great if and beneficial if that individual had a crypto background or interest as well.
Definitely. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, and I will say and I apologize for keep getting kicked out of here, but I will piggyback off of that and say that we are actually, my team's got some little bit of connections as well. We are talking to some people that are not in the sports world that will give us massive exposure and have a crypto interest. And even though we won't solely be focused on just pro athletes, we will still be strategic with whoever we partner with or bring in as influencers, if you want to call it. Because in the end of the day, we want them to have the excitement that we have about our project as well. So it won't be just athletes, but we'll have a mutual interest in crypto.
Absolutely, Dan. I can easily wear the hat of a hype man, but I'm just going to let the deals speak for themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate the time, guys.
Thanks,
Dan,
Arthur.
I don't know if you guys are monitoring the price right now, but I know right before we started, I jumped in Telegram. There was a little bit of talk about the sell-off. I'm happy to report that the price is right back up throughout this AMA. The price continues to go up. I understand there's a promotion you guys have going on right now. Can you talk about the promotion, the contest?
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, you want to take this one? I know you actually came up with the idea, and it was brilliant.
Thanks. So we're doing the biggest giveaway that we've had since launching the token. 2.2 billion coin, 10 winners. We kind of wanted to go with the 2022 theme. So we decided, 220 million coin times 10. And what we're doing is we're looking to utilize that as an opportunity to gain entries. We're getting insight on who's actually sharing. It also has an opportunity to then go viral as well. So it ends the January 16th. It's a simple way to enter. And at the same time, it encourages buys. So you have to have, from the time that the contest was announced, You have to hold at least or buy 100 million coin, which at the time when we announced it, I want to say 100 million coin was maybe like $100. I know since then it's gone up significantly, probably 3 or 4 times that, which is why we were encouraging folks to buy early, because the sooner you get it, the cheaper you get it for. And then, of course, you hold it until January 16th, and you have the opportunity to win 220 million. So it's an awesome idea that we kind of came across, and we kicked it around the team and said, how could we do this? How do we want to do this? And and we made it part of the Gleam contest, where you can share the Reddit posts. You have to actually, to unlock the extra entries, you have to visit the Reddit post, retweet the tweet itself about the giveaway, and then there's a couple other items or actionable items that you can do daily to earn extra entries. I think last I checked, we were close to 2,000 entries, which is phenomenal. It's amazing, and we still have 13 days left of the contest. So the contest's only been going for a week. So this can get to about 10,000 entries from simple math from what I'm doing now. So it's a way of giving back, getting the community excited, but at the same time, having actionable items that helps current investors as well that are a part of the token beforehand if they do not want to participate. I think there was even someone that said they're going to donate it, which is awesome. Which, speaking of donation, Dan, that was an awesome thing you did with the family. And in such a short time, the community came together to don't. That's the first donation coming from DFS-MAFIA. As Dan would say, what good are we if we're not doing good to others? So that was absolutely amazing. Taste of what our team is about. We're family. We're families. I'm also a family of three boys. They're older now. So my oldest son's a Temple grad who is the one that's involved with the website and building and all that. He went to school for media production and entrepreneurship. So he's right in line with what we're doing here. And he just graduated just a few weeks ago. So it's pretty awesome. But that's the giveaway in itself. And hopefully we can do a lot more of that. We're obviously going to constantly come up with different types of giveaways that make sense for, again, holders, new holders, attract new holders, and go from there. So,
and real quick, I just want actually going to touch base on that donation. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who did donate. We were able to do a little over 2 BNBs, a little over $1,000, and just to give you guys background, so this was actually a former supervisor of mine from a previous employment that I became really good friends with, and to see her family going through what they're going through, and especially it's a 4-year-old son, and I've got a 6-year-old son and a 4-year-old daughter and a newborn, and just kept picturing one of my kids going through what they're going through. I think he's got like 4 or 5 tumors on each kidney, and just been keeping up to date on what's been going on. For anybody who wants to just look at it, it's called Waterman's Hero, or Waterman's Warriors. I'm sorry. If you look it up on Facebook, they have a separate page for it. But I am beyond excited to be able to go and present her a check for her family, because they're going through a lot, and say, hey, this is on behalf of our crypto community, DFS-MAFIA, and just be able to give back to people. A little bit of insight about myself too, but I've got a handicapped brother who was born with cerebral palsy, so I was brought up in a family that's all about giving back and having a kind heart. So to be able to have a platform like I have now, and to utilize that to give back to people that really need it, meant a lot to me. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who did donate.
Dan, that's such a fantastic message, and it's great to see that the giving spirit exists at the heart of DFS-MAFIA. I think that resonates incredibly well with Nobility and our entire community. I'm just, I haven't expressed it yet, Dan, but I'm so impressed by the steps that you and the team have taken to start this company and to build it up. I'm an early token holder as well, and obviously, it is very early days, only 270 odd holders out there. I'm keen to hear from yourself and probably Chris, I guess, on the marketing side, what your general plans are to, I guess, boost the marketing and to drive the number of holders out there.
Yeah, so we initially, I mean, like a lot of early tokens. We went with the social media influencers, and I know a lot of our early holders did come from that type of marketing, but we realized, we don't want the short-term pump and dumpers and people just looking at profits and wanting. We want people that really see the vision that we have and want to be in this with the long haul with us and build this brand. So that's where we came with the idea. Like, look, let's, we all along we knew we want to get partnerships and bring in athletes and build those, those collaborations. But it really be like, let's build the space. Let's, what better way to spread the word than to bring in massive partnerships and build that foundation to build off of. And with those partnerships and the help that it brings to building our company in general, you also get the fan base, the followers, etc. And you bring in pro athletes and what they bring to the table. It creates a domino effect. Now, we also are still working on some other marketing. We're putting out some ads. I've got targeted Facebook ads launching. So we're still targeting new holders and still focusing on that marketing. But we really took.
While
Lost you
he
there again, buddy.
while he disconnects, I could speak to that as well. We basically said, let's not only just we could handle the marketing the way every coin has done, or we could actually utilize our resources, create the partnerships, and then market the partnerships with the coin at the same time, expanding the reach. And what's going to happen is going to create a massive catapult, which would be just bigger than anyone ever imagined, is obviously the ultimate goal. But that's kind of, when you think about it, you land a huge NFL pro that is endorsing. Just imagine the magnitude of who that brings, what that brings, and then the buzz that comes with that. And that becomes and on top of that, we have the foundational parts in place to then exploit everything that we're about. So that's, we didn't want to do it the opposite way. And like Dan said, pump and dumpers can really, really kill a project before it even gets off the ground. And we were very meticulous and selective on how to approach it, where we can do our best to do that, to then again protect our investors that are in, so that way you don't have that. And not to say that that's not going to happen, it could happen, but at least the early strong foundational investors that are in now and that continue to come in early will understand what's ahead of us, and will always be transparent on what we're doing with what we can talk about. Since a lot of it is high level and it's protected through agents and so forth, it's very, it's you can't talk about it until it happens, but you could only hint on it. So unfortunately there's going to always be a lot of hinting, and then you'll know when Dan's ready to drop that noise on when it actually happens. So even before the ink dries, I guess, right? Is that one of the things that was being said?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to be a little careful not dropping too much news before, like you said, the ink dries. But sometimes the excitement gets the best of me. But Savag, he's actually jumping off now. I just wanted to, he's got to get running here. He took the time out of his day to join us and put his 2 cents in, so we appreciate that. I don't know, Savag, if you want to say any parting words.
Well, I just like I said, I'm very excited. Love what you guys are doing. I love the fact that you did give back, and I didn't see that. I've been had my wife visiting, and maybe I can contribute to that family as well. I think it's just fantastic to have that giving spirit, and I love the team that you have and that you're building on. Uh,
Okay.
just very excited, and I think it's going to be an explosive 2022. I wish everybody all the best, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Savaj. Hawks, you got a question?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have another question for Dan. So first question would be, do you have any plans in the near future to create a Discord channel for your holders? Just because I know a lot of people don't really utilize Telegram right now. I know that's your main point of communication for chatting. But do you have any plans in the near future to create a Discord channel that could, maybe invite more people or that are prone and familiar with using Discord versus Telegram?
Yeah, actually, that was something we had talked about. So we got our Facebook and Instagram, pages up as well. And I said, I got a lot of requests for, hey, you guys have Discord, when Discord. So that is something that I plan on launching soon as well. Um, I wanted to make sure that we have enough people readily available to be, interactive. I think you guys have all seen that we're a very interactive team and we're transparent. So I wanted to make sure that we've got somebody always available to kind of chit chat if need be. But yeah, Discord's coming.
Perfect. Well, thanks for answering that. And then my second question was, so you guys claim to be one of the only, emerging fantasy betting cryptos out there right now. Who do you now, and what kind of edge do you have on your competition that you feel will make you more successful than any other competitor?
I really think it's going to be our partnerships and our contacts. I mean, and just to be clear, so there is other tokens that have launched or are launching with sports betting as their idea. We're not going to be sports betting. We're fantasy sports, and that's the one thing that I've seen that nobody's really focused on. Everybody wants to go to sports betting because it's an easier platform, honestly, to launch because it's a simple just you pick the lines, you have an integration. I mean, I don't even know if they're integrating their tokens or not, but fantasy sports aspect, I haven't seen anybody do anything near what we've been working on. But yeah, I think as far as what's going to give us the edge is our foundation, the building those partnerships. When you've got pro athletes backing us and Sveg and what he's doing, and just I can't wait to release some of the stuff that we've talked about. But that it all leads back to the same reason we're using partnerships for marketing is the same reason that nobody's going to compete with us, because when you got major players on our side and backing us and investing us, that's going to be the difference maker between us and somebody else that just tries to piggyback off the idea.
For sure. Yeah, no, I agree. I think you're probably right as far as a lot of the other cryptos that are probably taking the low road and just going with a straight line betting platform for teams winning, doing parlays, stuff like that, which is like kind of like what the sports bet follows in Vegas. Yep. But yeah, what you're talking about, fantasy betting, that creates a whole new element. I mean, I love fantasy betting. I mean, when I get the chance to put in a fantasy lineup for like PGA golf, or NFL on a weekend, and I can just pick and choose my favorite players, and I'm just allocated a certain dollar amount. I mean, it's like I salivate when I'm like, oh, who am I going to put together, And I've never won it big, but my brother just won first place in a PGA fantasy betting bet with DraftKings this year. Wow. Or yesterday, I should say, in 21. And paid him out a sizable amount of money. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I didn't think anybody that I knew would ever win one of these. And here it was my brother. And I was like, you lucky dog.
I'll give you guys a real quick story. So, anybody who's been in crypto and DFS are very similar of getting those highs and lows and emotions. So I sold a token. I won't name the token back in February of this year. They've been stagnant for like a year and a half to try to catch the next wave on a different token. Learned that mistake hard because the $2,000 worth of token would have been worth $500,000 right now. So that was just one of those situations in crypto where you learn your lesson of don't sell a token to buy another one, just make more money and buy that other token. The other thing was, so when you come to DFS, I had two lineups going in FanDuel one night. They were almost identical, but they had a slight variation with the defense. And one of them was a free contest. The other one was like a $5 entrance fee. The free contest took third place out of 155,000 people. I won $20 because it was a free contest. The other contest took eighth place out of 40,000 or out of 27,000 people, and I won like $400. If I had put those lineups in the opposite and switched them, I would have won first place in the contest I paid to get into and won $40,000. But because I put the right lineup in the wrong contest, I got to watch that perfect lineup win $20. So that was kind of the other idea of why I did DFS and cryptos, because you get these big wins, you make a ton of money, but you also got these like, oh, I can't believe that just happened to me. And you're saying about how you never won anything big. A good close friend of mine just last Sunday should have won the Sunday million.
Time to come back.
You can't tease us like that, saying he almost won something, then just disappeared.
Sounds like he's into a bit of torment for people in now both crypto and daily fantasy sports.
Dan is getting to practice on how to jump on these Twitter spaces and out.
I don't know what is going. It just keeps closing the app down. I'm gonna have to try a different phone next time. But anyways, he was one pass completion or one reception or one running touchdown of any of these two players, and he would have won the Sunday Million. And instead, they kicked a field goal and tried an onside kick, and that's all it took. He was that close to $1 million, and instead he took like I think $300. So yeah, DFS is a roller coaster of emotions, just like crypto.
Absolutely.
We're
Awesome. Well,
running
hey,
down on time.
thanks for asking my questions. I'm going to go ahead and step down now. Rick, all yours.
Artek, you had your hand up.
Well, I was going to throw out a marketing idea, but it could be done offline. But I was just going to say, with the connections that DFS-MAFIA seems to be forming, I was just going to say a great tool would be for fundraisers also to get exposure. Get yourself on a Zoom call with XYZ athlete or actor, actress, and the donations in itself to helping families in need is great publicity. But that's something, again, it was just a thought, but I can shoot them a message on Telegram as well. It was just an idea that popped in my head when Dan was talking about raising money for the family whose child was unfortunately going through some medical issues, and just another way to give back to the community. I think we would all be, we can put our bids in with our tokens, and the winner gets that meet and greet, whether it be online, probably online, with that celebrity. And I don't think anybody would have a problem with not winning because the rest of the tokens would go to a worthy cause.
I like it. Yeah, it's definitely something we can look at doing some avenue of that with doing a donation fundraiser type thing with a meet and greet. I've actually seen another non-competitive product do something like that, where kind of a Zoom meet and greet with your favorite athletes. So that's a good idea.
And Nobility can do the same. I know Kyle's got 1 million contacts, so it'd be a great avenue for both tokens to potentially do a fundraising aspect of the token. I know it's a new year. Everyone wants to give back if they can. So I'm just super hyped for both these projects. So I'm looking forward to, I know Nobility's got a month and later on this year. So it's really exciting to have two projects now that we're kind of anticipating the next move. And we know they're both being backed by businesses and not worried about a disappearing act by the dev team. So it's really refreshing that we have both these projects that we're talking about today.
Dan, have you gotten most of your buddies from fantasy football, the leagues, into the project?
I've got some notable people in there. That's why I brought in Jeff Lambert, because he's going to be able to bring in a lot of people. That's his expertise. He writes articles for Fantasy Pros. So I've got my buddies from the big players. They're involved, but as far as investing, but we're going to really target that whole sector and just get the DFS community involved, because a lot of them from DFS Army, we talked to their CEO and he goes, we're all degenerate gamblers and investors. So I forgot to mention we talked to him, and there's some stuff coming from that. But yeah, no, the DFS sector is going to be probably a very large investing group.
We've had since we started this space with you guys, we've had over $1,600 in buys for Mafia. Market cap right now is over $1 million. As a Bills Mafia fan, what sort of market cap do we need to get to get you to jump through a table in a parking lot?
You know what? I love this idea. We get to a $5 million market cap, I'll video me jumping through a table in a parking lot at a Bills game. Well, I'll see when this happens, but I will do the table jump or the table smash at a $5 million market cap.
Nice.
It might even make
Mark
a point.
that down, people.
Crazy.
You heard it here first. Breaking news. Looking forward to that.
Too right. Dan, I've just got to say here, buddy, that for somebody who is obviously, I guess, addicted to a bit of adrenaline, living and breathing in the crypto space and the daily fantasy sports side of things. You're going to love team ownership if you go that route for the A7FL. That takes fanhood to a whole different level and stress levels around game to something interstellar, mate. So you're in for a fun ride there if you take that step, buddy.
Absolutely. No, and then, I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'm a workaholic, so the added stress and anxiety, but excitement doesn't bother me. I'm used to working about 100 hours a week. As you guys notice, I'm on Telegram till like 2, 3 in the morning and up at 6 or 7. So, no, that idea popped in my head. I was like, this is something definitely to look into. Not saying we're doing it, but if the numbers make sense and it helps our project, then yeah, that would be. And then when I found out you can't even buy a team or like launch your own team, it's an entire division. I was like, oh, this is great. So I started talking to the co-founder today about launching possibly in Buffalo or picking a couple different areas if we end up doing it. So it'll be fun.
It takes yelling at referees to a whole new level, mate, once you own the team. So
I'll be
good
coaching
luck with that if
my
you're doing
son's
it
flag
across an entire
football league
division.
this year, so I'll get some experience doing that.
Lunar,
Awesome.
our last question tonight is going to be from Wes. We'll do final statements from the Mafia team, and then Hawk will take us out in his usual manner. Wes, how's it going?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Rick, I'm doing great. How are y'all today?
Good. You have a question?
I do. I feel honored to be the last question of the night. Thank you very much. And someone's got that recorded for timestamp that DFS Mafia said 5 million market cap with the jumping at the table, right? We have that recorded.
I sure hope so.
Okay, good. Perfect. All right.
I'll
so make
post
sure
it
that
on
was on the
Twitter,
record
don't
on the
worry.
books. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Anyways, so question for y'all. But first of all, I'm a DFS Mafia holder and an Ability lover. I've been holding Ability for a while. I've been holding DFS Mafia for a hot minute with several people in the Noble community. So love the project. I'm a big esports fan and a big daily sports fan. So this is very, very, very exciting stuff here. So question for y'all about your betting platform, that you're kind of looking at here. I play Underdog Fantasy in addition to DraftKings. Are y'all thinking about doing best ball contests as well, and potentially any dynasty integration, like something similar to rival what NFL has to offer, or are you guys only going to be focusing on contest and tournaments, cash games and tournament stuff?
No, actually, so I had a bunch of ideas as far as when we first launched, we were going to launch with our initial ideas, but to build our platform out and really be an avenue of different experiences. Because some people don't like, sitting down. Like I'll tell you right now, I'm addicted to DFS, and I'll sit there for hours researching players and their matchups and who's injured and who's going to be the sleeper pick and all that. Some people don't have the patience for that or don't want to. So coming up with different games and different types of contests and things like that is something that I am absolutely going to be doing, because you want to really reach out to just everybody who has any bit of interest in DFS or fantasy sports or any type of sports in general, and grasp their attention. So yeah, I mean, whether it be pick'ems or just over unders or just little things like that, that's something we're going to look at doing as well. But it's not going to be just a straight DFS platform.
Very cool. So prop bets and all that stuff, in-game prop bets. And
yeah, I want to make it where it's a one-stop shop. And I don't want to jump the gun too much in this, but one of my ideas.
No worries at all. No worries.
No, but like launching with Nobility on their blockchain, I really thought about we're in two different sectors to an extent, but we're very similar where we can help build each other. I thought, be able to advertise and have links through the DFS platform to Nobility's esports and all that all their concepts are doing. It's not DFS betting and that, but it's still sports in that aspect, and gaming is very similar to sports in DFS. So I thought that was an idea I wanted to propose to the team, and I forgot to bring that up earlier, where having their integration in our platform to some extent and building that DeFi unity was a key idea for myself.
That's right. Very cool. Well, thank y'all for your time. I really appreciate you answering my questions. And Luna and Rick, thanks for hosting. And Unify DeFi, go Knights. Love the Noble community till the day I die. And looking forward to seeing DFS Mafia grow really well. And I'm looking forward to riding with y'all. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wes. That's fantastic. Listen, guys, we're hitting the end of our normal window here at about 90 odd minutes. So just like to throw the mic back to Dan and or Chris for some final comments.
Well, I hope I don't get kicked off again on the list, but I just want to say thank you to all you guys, and thank you for Nobility for hosting us. I just, the love we've gotten for Nobility is just amazing, and we're excited to be just in the same conversation with you guys and having that unity. So thank you for having us. Keep watching us. We're going to do amazing things. We got a lot of partnerships we're working on, and I think you guys all know that we're not at this point. We're not a rug pull. So we're the real deal, and we've got a vision to be a $1 billion project. So keep with us.
Thank you so much.
Yep, echoing Dan. Thank you guys so much for having us and allowing the space to be able to unify DeFi, as everyone says, and go Noble Mafia, right? Has a beautiful ring to it.
It's good to be noble.
It does. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Chris. The rest of the DFS-MAFIA team for coming in tonight. I can only speak for myself, but I know that a lot of people were excited about this AMA tonight. A lot of us hold both projects, and so we are really rooting for you guys to succeed. Hawk, you want to take us out?
For DFS and Nobility, we ride at dawn.
I'm gonna need you to record stuff like that just so I can post it on Twitter and Instagram and Discord when we launch it. That's amazing.
Too right.
Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Thanks, guys.
Good night,
Take care.
everybody.
Have a good night.